All right, it's recording. All right. So, can you please state your first and last name and how to spell it?
Michael Jones, Michael J1ES.
All right, sounds good. So, let's get into it. All right. So, last night, did you go to the game by yourself or did you bring anyone with you with the Nationals?
Well, no, my wife and I attended the game. We live in Richmond, Virginia, and so it was kind of a getaway for us. And so I'm a big Padres fan. So she got tickets, and we were just enjoying the game.
Where were you compared to the gunshots being fired outside of the stadium?
We were in section 116, about 4 rows from the dugout, 4 rows up from the dugout. So you figure section 116, tunnel, concession stands, and then the gates right behind that. That's kind of where we were. It's not that we were very close, but it was right behind us on the third baseline.
Were you able to hear the gunshots where you were sitting at?
Yeah, we heard them, and the guy sitting in front of us, we looked at each other. We're like, that can't be gunfire.
Mhm.
And so I looked at my wife. She's like, yeah, that kind of sounds like it. So
Did y'all think it was fireworks at first?
no, it definitely wasn't fireworks. I'm familiar with gunshots, especially where I live in Richmond, Virginia. We hear them quite often. So fireworks, they were not for sure.
For sure. What was going through your thought process when you first heard the gunshots?
Kind of what was going on was that, was that a part of something? Was that, uh, was that someone just, random gunfire in the air type deal? And then, as we sat there a little bit longer, we're like, oh, something's not going right.
Mhm. So, did they suspend the game immediately afterwards?
Yeah, what they did once they cleared the field, I think that was pretty much a wrap. They weren't going to bring anyone else out, and I don't blame them for that. So
I can.
it got pretty hairy there for a while.
So, why did you decide to stay at the stadium after you heard the gunshots?
Why did I decide to stay?
Yes.
I mean, we had no choice. We had the shelter in place right there, and right where we were in section 116, we didn't have a readily available path to escape or to get away, and so they weren't letting us on the field. A tunnel was too far, too far away from us, and a couple sections over, we couldn't get to it. So we just had to hunker down and just wait it out.
Did you see a lot of people evacuating the baseball stadium immediately?
Yeah, I mean, you saw some people running around, which is probably the wrong thing to do,
Mhm.
because again, you don't know where you're running to. The one thing we knew we didn't want to do where we were sitting, there's no need to go up because that's where that's where the gunfire was. So like, we probably don't want to go that way. And so, I think a lot of us in our section just made the smart decision to just sit down, get as low as we could, and just wait it out.
All right. What did the national PA announcer tell the fans to do?
Well, I mean, he more or less just told people kind of what was going on, that there was an active shooting scene outside of the stadium, trying to let us know what was going on. And so they communicated pretty routinely with us to let us know what was happening kind of in real time. But again, you got Twitter, we were calling family and friends. My wife called her sister and kind of let us know, hey, what was going on. A couple people got shot outside the stadium. And so it was good that it was good to see that the announcer wasn't pulling our leg,
Mhm.
because you always have that concern of, well, are they telling us the truth or are they just telling us what they want us to know? But they dealt with this straight up, which I could really appreciate. And hey, um, they let us go when it was time to when it was safe to do so.
Uh, how, how long did y'all stay during the PA announcements and everything?
Probably about 15 minutes, but I mean, it seemed like forever. It did.
because you all were scared, didn't know what was going on?
Or it's not that much, we were scared. It's just we've kind of seen this play out that, okay, was this a mass shooting? What's going on? And so, it was just really a case of not knowing, of uncertainty, because again, all right, what do we do? It's kind of tough to just, well, hey, we're going to sit here and do nothing. That's kind of tough to do, but at times that's the smartest thing to do, and you just got to do it.
Uh, what did y'all do after you exited the baseball stadium?
Well, we just jumped back on the metro. We walked over to another stop where we thought it would not be as crowded. Jumped the metro and got back over to Pentagon City.
Did you see any cop cars out there or fire trucks?
Oh man, yeah. You saw a lot of police vehicles, police cars. Even while we were in the tunnel walking to the center field gate, you saw them over to our left, and you saw a heavy police presence as we walked out, and rightly so. And so I think the response was appropriate, and um, apparently there were no other incidents.
All right. Uh, do you think security could improve outside the stadium or inside the stadium at all after last night?
I mean, outside of creating some type of buffer, and again, that's not knowing what actually happened. It's tough to say. I think the Nationals, they are to be commended, because a lot of what they do from a security standpoint, it's more proactive than anything else. All their work is done up front, right? And then so they're just implementing a process that they've thought out, and so you can see it was well thought out. Now, the one thing I wish there was a clearer path for those of us in our section, that if we had to evacuate, that it was visible. And I think that was the one thing that was a little disconcerting. But outside of that, the Nationals had it buttoned up. They really did.
What do they usually do? Do they give you a metal detector test before you go in, or what's the
Oh
security?
yeah, yeah. I mean, you got it. They search your bags, and you go through the metal detector and things of that nature. And so that's why I kind of didn't. That's why I really didn't think it was anyone inside the park per se. If it was someone, busted through some gates or something. But you know, I think the Nationals as a whole, and even Metro PD, I think they did a great job responding. And you're talking about 40,000 people, 30 to 40,000 people being in one location. Thankfully, more people were not hurt.
And I'm glad to hear that. All right. So, do you have any tips that you would get to anyone if there was an active shooter nearby since it happened to you last night?
Find a safe place and hunker down. Um, that's the biggest thing. That try, and it's difficult, but try to remain as calm as you can, to try and really think your way through the situation beforehand. I this is something I believe in. Know your exits. Know where you can and can't go. Know where you can and can't escape to, and things of that nature. And so that's the biggest thing. Just keep going. The cool thing was, um, we give each other a lot of, a hard time in this country, between races, between political parties and affiliations and things of that nature, even between, the Nationals and the Padres, right? But it was good to see. I mean, hey, we're all in this together. We're all humans. We all want to protect our lives. And so, hey, look, let's help each other out. And I think that was one of the positive takeaways, for me last night.
I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad everybody that was inside the stadium was safe. All right. Final question. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is to, especially being on city council in the city of Richmond, um, to ensure and really focus on localities having um, proper safety protocols for large buildings, especially coliseums and arenas and venues like that. And then something as simple as churches, synagogues, places of worship, places of employment. What safety protocols do you have? And so for me, that's something, when I go back, those are going to be some of the questions that I'm going to ask. You know, how do we maintain safe workspaces? How do we maintain, safety where large numbers of people can congregate? So,
All right. I think that's all the questions I had for you tonight. I appreciate your time doing this interview with me, and I'm thankful that you are safe along with everyone else.
appreciate it, Chris. I do a lot of interviews with my job, man. This felt like an interview. Good job, bud.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, take care, man. Enjoy your evening.